welcome to iHorror, the official podcast of iHorror.com. This is episode 140, otherwise known as season 7, episode 21. I am your host, James J. Edwards, and with me, as always, is your other host, Jacob Davison. How you doing, Jacob?
Doing fine. Survived the holidays.
Yeah, survive. That's a good way to put it. Also with us, as always, is your other host, John Correa. How you doing, Correa?
Doing great. I'm wearing my poncho, and as we all know, it's scientifically impossible to be unhappy in a poncho. So, feeling great. Ate some food, got some caffeine. I'm going to be a little bit more awake today. It's going to be great. And it's our finale, right?
When I was at Costco, there was a new variety pack of Alani energy drink. So I'm trying a flavor cherry twist that I've never had before. So you got here, let me sample it while we're here.
Ooh, yeah.
It's cherry and it's twisty.
Got to get that product placement. But I thought you were going to say they had a new variety pack of ponchos, and I just was about ready to cancel this recording and go get some more ponchos.
That'd be amazing. It is our last episode of the season, even though it's the first episode of 2025, which means top 10 lists. Woohoo! Woo! So let's dive right in, because these are always they always run long because we talk too much. Let's see, the order we're going to go in, I'm deciding, are how we are showing at the top of my Zoom workplace, which is me, Korea, then Jacob. So I'm going to go first with my number 10. My number 10 is Heretic.
Oh.
Which, I mean, I just loved the fact that we could have a religious movie that is not about possession. Nothing against the movies about possession that have come out this year, but I just love the philosophical religion horror of basically someone challenging someone else's religious beliefs, and that being the scariest part. And Hugh Grant, one of the best performances of the year. I doubt he'll get nominated for an Oscar, but again, just another thing for us to complain about horror not being taken seriously by the Oscars. So, yep, Heretic, number 10.
I mean, it was definitely the number one and best Jar Jar Binks impressions of the year.
This is true. He gave an Oscar-worthy Jar Jar Binks impression.
All right, Korea, what do you got for us, number 10?
Number 10, I have M. Night Shyamalan's Trap as my number 10, which I can already see people being like, Trap? Listen, that was the most fun I had at the cinemas this year, was Trap. I genuinely love that movie. I had so much fun with it. And yeah, it was just a great experience seeing it with the crowd that was really into it. And, I think it deserves high praise for just being fun as fuck.
It's not on my list, but I loved Trap. I'm a Shyamalan fanboy. I rewatched Trap again, maybe 3 weeks ago, and it really makes it bums me out that Bruce Willis is not in a condition to make movies anymore, because this movie would fit so well into that Unbreakable Split universe. The Butcher would be such a great villain for that. So bum me out.
Also, I do love Josh Hartnett's performance was genuinely incredible, and he was able to kind of play that up because, going from, loving father to the Butcher, and just kind of the way that the perspective follows him as he's kind of navigating the stadium and figuring out a way to escape the trap.
Plus, I know a lot of people complained about the multiple endings, which wasn't as bad as Old. Old had 20 goddamn endings. But if we didn't have the multiple endings, we wouldn't have a shirtless Hartnett. So worth it.
That's why people call him Josh Hotness.
Yeah. And finally, it was, I didn't notice it the first time I saw it, but the second time I totally did. Korea, you're right. It's absolutely a Lady Raven concert movie with a subplot, because there is so much of the music. And, hey, I know I said that I'm Team Sky Riley when it comes to these, but hey, I would go to that tour with both of them, because Lady Raven's got her shit together too.
Yeah. Lady Raven Sky Riley tour when? Come on.
Yeah. All right, Jacob, number 10.
All right. My number 10 is VHS Beyond.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of found footage, and the VHS franchise has been really the gift that keeps on giving since the beginning. I've been a fan, and it's just such a fun stomping ground for directors to just go hog wild with the subgenre. And I thought there were some particularly fun entries in this one, like the Stork one, which was directed by Jordan Downey, which was basically like the best Resident Evil movie that wasn't actually Resident Evil. Plus, Justin Long and Christian Long did a batshit crazy like science animal found footage thing with the fur babies segment.
That one's my favorite. I love that one.
I feel like that was him processing being in Tusk.
Yeah, and Barbarian.
True, and of course Kate Siegel's film debut with a story with her husband Mike Flanagan, which was so horrifying and heartbreaking. And also, I just love that they decided to do kind of a particular shtick with this entry, in that it's all sci-fi horror with this, be it mad science or aliens and all kinds of crazy stuff. So. Yeah, I thought it was a fun time, and I was fortunate enough to see it theatrically at Beyond Fest, and the crowd went wild with every entry. So yeah, no, I really like this one, and I'm always looking forward to more VHS and more found footage.
Yeah, I still need to watch it. I just need to remind the viewers that our top tens are based on what we've seen and our personal opinions. So we can't see everything. So my apologies to VHS Beyond. I will be watching you soon.
I think I forgot that a VHS movie came out this year. That's how good this year has actually been. Pretty plentiful, and the quality of the movies have been great. Has been really good. I had a tough time making my list.
Yeah.
Speaking of my list, it's my turn again. My number 9 is Maxine.
Ooh.
And we discussed how we all have different favorite movies in the X trilogy. Maxine, I think, is my favorite. And actually, it says a lot about this year that it's my number 9, when like X and Parole were higher up on my lists in those years. I just think that Ty West totally nailed the landing. And for what he was trying to do, which is make one of those 80s sleazy exploitational crime dramas, I think he just totally nailed it. I mean, Maxine Minx is she has an amazing arc between X and Maxine, and I just think that I just love Maxine. I wouldn't be adverse to there being a 4th movie, honestly.
Yeah, I really dug Maxine too, and I do love how it's a franchise where like every movie is so completely different from the last. It just because like the first one's like a throwback 70s slasher, the second one is kind of a psychological thriller, and the third one is an 80s sleazeploitation.
All right, Korea, number 9.
Number 9. I had a day the other day where 2 movies snuck into my top 10, and this was the first one, Oddity.
Yes.
I loved Oddity. It's atmospheric as fuck. And I really appreciated just kind of like being in this really dark world where ghosts are real, and it's not just about one ghost. It's not just about one thing. And I thought it was a great performances by Carolyn Bracken in there. And yeah, I love very atmospheric, spooky ghost stories. So this one did it for me. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And the wood, I don't know, it's not a wood creature thing, doll. I don't know. He was creepy as fuck.
It reminded me of the thing from Fear.
Yeah.
Yeah, the wood guy.
Yeah. I thought it was very just atmospheric, and I'm a sucker for atmospheric ghost stories. So yeah, Oddity snuck its way in there the last minute for me.
Cool. I saw Oddity. I saw the trailer accidentally at some other, maybe In a Violent Nature, some movie that I had to go see in theaters, with like a paying crowd. And I remember the trailer has kind of that opening scene, and then I couldn't remember the name of the movie, and I was like, dude, what the fuck? So when it finally hit Shudder, I was like, oh yes, this is that movie. Awesome. All right, Jacob, number 9.
All right. Coming at number 9, very fine, is Lisa Frankenstein by Zelda Williams from a script by Diablo Cody. Yeah, no, I had a real soft spot for this one because I just thought it was such an interesting and unique take on the Frankenstein story with the kind of pop 80s filter. And also, we're all fans of Catherine Newton here. We all love her.
Yeah.
Yep. So did you put it at number 9 just so you could bust that sweet rhyme?
No, it was just pure serendipity. But yeah, no, I really dug Lisa Frankenstein, and it really seemed to resonate with a lot of horror romance fans. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of postmodern gothic romance. Also, killer soundtrack.
Hell yeah.
Cool. On to number 8. My number 8, and I have a feeling that sometimes I feel like this is too low, but it's just a testament to how great the year has been. My number 8 is The Substance. And yeah, because I have a feeling this is higher on your guys' lists, but we'll see. The Substance is just one of those, it starts off sensible and then just goes absolutely crazy. And again, Demi Moore, if it wasn't a freaking schlocky body horror movie, she should be in the awards conversation. And I think she has a better chance of being in it than Hugh Grant does for Heretic, but we'll see. But anyway, I have a feeling we're going to be talking about The Substance a little more later, but that's my number 8.
Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley, just
oh yeah,
giving it all, laying it all out there. Fearless performances.
All right, Korea, number 8.
Number 8. I had to include this in my top 10. Sasquatch Sunset.
Yeah.
A lot of my top 10s is going to be how much fun did I have at the cinemas this year? And let me tell you, Sasquatch Sunset was an experience.
Oh,
and seeing that on the big screen, hearing people having like physical reactions to what happens on the screen. I know I just said I'm probably going to say fearless performances a bunch with these, but truly fearless.
These ones really are.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Right.
like those over the line.
Talk about
Right.
actors taking risks.
Yeah, Riley Keough and Jesse Eisenberg and everyone else just like fully went for it. The cinematography is gorgeous. It really does feel like a super high shot like documentary about these creatures, and it also featured probably the most anxiety inducing scenes of the year for me. The scene by the river had me like gripping my chair, just being like, something happened already. God did just release me. So yeah, Sasquatch Sunset, it's Sasquatches and bodily fluids. What more could you want?
It also was one of the most dramatic movies this year, especially because it was basically a family drama with no dialogue with this group of Sasquatches, but also incredibly funny. Like one of the funniest scenes I even saw this year or last year in theaters was that bit where the one Sasquatch gets bitten by a turtle and it can't get the turtle off, so they all have to pull the turtle off. Then the patriarch Sasquatch holds the turtle up to his ear like a cell phone, yells into it, and then chucks it into the woods. Like that made me lose my shit.
It's so good. It's so good.
Cool. Jacob, number 8.
Okay, number 8 and feeling great is Robert Eggers' Nosferatu.
Ooh.
Which, I was kind of on the fence, where to place it exactly, but I knew it was going to be on my top 10 because it was probably the best vampire movie this year. And there were a few, I think, but yeah, no, I really liked Eggers's remake, just in, following, the original Murnau classic and Herzog's gritty 70s German version. It was interesting to kind of see his own take on it and bringing his own signature style and just, darkness. It was very foreboding. And of course, having such an incredible ensemble cast, particularly I liked Willem Dafoe as the professor. Like, I still can't stop thinking about that line. I've seen things that would make Isaac Newton go back into the womb.
It's such a great line.
Oh yes, and also I just really love what he did with the vampire, because just between Bill Skarsgård's performance and just how imposing it is, just how he made the vampire this force of supernatural darkness, like he's like a living corruption, like everywhere he goes, like he drives everyone mad or brings disease and plague and horror around him. Like, does the rats follow him, and his shadow stretches all over the city. So I really do like how they brought that back, because it's like beyond like being a guy with fangs that drinks blood. Like vampires are supposed to be that mind warping, or it's like they're just so unnatural that everything around them is corrupted.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, it was a blast to see on 35 millimeter at the New Bev. I really had a great time with that.
Yeah, I saw it again for a second time last night because there was something I was like, I need to watch it one more time before I finalize this top 10 list. And spoilers, it's not on mine. I absolutely loved Nosferatu, and I love that take on Orlok. But and in rewatching, because I watched the original again before going to see it, what made me realize what was the thing that was like keeping it for my top 10 is I love that weirdo. I love Matt Schreck's weird Orlok. There's so many scenes where you see his loneliness come out, and just in how he interacts. The whole dinner scene where he's sitting there with Thomas and he's just kind of like staring over. He's just a weird, lonely guy.
Yep.
And he embodies evil, whereas Edgar's Orlok is the embodiment of evil. So there wasn't, which is scary and great in its own sense, but I lean more towards feeling for that weirdo who's carrying his own casket or through town, which is both really ridiculous and sad, but also powerful. It's because at first you're like, oh shit, he's carrying a whole casket full of dirt by himself, but then also like, that's so sad, he has to carry it himself. I don't know, like I was just missing that from that, but that's like my only. It's not even a critique. It's just, I like the weirdo guy a bit more. That's all.
Fair enough.
Cool. All right. Moving on to number 7. My number 7 is probably my favorite movie we saw from Screenfest a few months back, In the Name of God.
Yeah.
Like I touched on with Heretic, in a year that saw a lot of religious horror, this one just stuck out for me because it wasn't just a possession movie. This one wasn't even philosophical. This was literally sacrifices causing miracles. And I wasn't, truth be told, I wasn't expecting a ton from any of those Screamfest titles, just because I know how festival movies that you've never heard of go. But this one just blew me away as I was watching it. I loved this movie. I'm not sure if it has an American release outside of festivals, but that didn't stop me. It's my number 7, In the Name of God. I also loved the familiar faces from Midsommar that were in it too, which were a lot of fun for me. But anyway, In the Name of God is my number 7. Korea, number 7.
Number 7, All Dogs Go to Heaven. I'm trying to write things down too. My number 7 this year was Sting.
Ooh.
Yeah, Sting was such a fun horror comedy. I grew up on Arachnophobia. I think that's one of the greatest creature features ever. And this one, Sting was just like in that same vein, was just really funny, was really out there, really went for it, and had some genuinely tense moments. I also really appreciate movies that have a child as like the protagonist, and the child is well written and doesn't come off annoying.
And well acted in this case.
Yeah, because it's so easy to for an adult writing a child to not write them well, and I just thought it was all around just awesome. That whole the whole opening joke bit with the old lady, and then coming back to it is so good. If you haven't seen Sting, it's spiders in an apartment building, and it's such a fun ride.
Sting is another one of those movies that I think I forgot it came out this year, because it was way back in like February.
I know.
And it was a lot of fun too. And I don't know if it would have made my list, but when I was making my list, I didn't think, oh, I should think about Sting. I don't know. I think that it's just been so long. But yeah, Sting's a ton of fun.
About halfway through the year, I made like a private letterbox list of just like horror movies I liked that came out this year, because I was like, oh, in December, I'm going to be going through my diary and I'm going to hate everything trying to pick fucking titles. So just add everything to this list. I had like 40 by the end of the year. Yeah. I was throwing everything in there.
Yep. All right. Jacob, number 7.
All right. Lucky number 7. is friend of the podcast, Stephen Kostanski's Frankie Frico. Did either of you guys see that?
I didn't know.
Not yet. No.
Oh, well, you're missing out because it is the ultimate tiny little monster weird guy throwback. And it's basically Connor Sweeney plays this uptight milquetoast dude, and I think it's like the late 80s, early 90s, and he calls like one of those old 900 numbers for like party animals, and he invokes Frankie Frico and his friends who are just like little party animal goblin guys, and shenanigans ensue. And it has Kostanski's sense of humor with a lot of the homage stuff and little creatures, and specifically it's a big throwback on Ghoulies, and I think particularly Ghoulies Go to College, which is probably one of the best Ghoulies,
hands down. It's Ghoulies 3, yeah. Ghoulies 2, Ghoulies 1. I haven't seen the fourth one, but yeah,
pretty much, yes. But yeah, no, it was just so much fun, and again, glad I got to see it theatrically. I saw it at the Alamo, and the world needs movies about weird little guys, you know.
As I was just saying with Nosferatu, I love the weird guys. So yeah, I it's on my list. I just need to find it.
Yeah, no, like I was even saying that it would make a great double feature with Hundreds of Beavers, because both of them feel like live action cartoons. Because like there's even a bit with like I think an anvil is almost dropped on somebody's head in Frankie Frico.
Awesome.
All right, on to number 6. I can't think of a rhyme for 6. So anyway, my 6 is Longlegs.
Nice.
This is a bit polarizing. I know that there are a lot of people who absolutely hated this movie. I loved it. It's sort of like, I feel like it is kind of the B movie version of Silence of the Lambs, because it's sort of a police procedural, but then you throw in the psychic element and the occult element, and then you get to the end. I don't want to spoil anything, but by the time you get to the end, there is another element that shows up that is just even crazier, and you get Nick Cage singing T-Rex to you, or rocking out to T-Rex. So, yep, Longlegs is my number 6, and loved it. It was awesome.
I just love that all around LA there's for your consideration posters for Longlegs, and it's just Nick Cage's face.
Is it getting a push? That's
cool. They have a massive poster or billboard for it right outside, right across the street from Amoeba and the Pantages Theater on Hollywood Boulevard. So they're trying. They're going for it.
Because it was in the neon pack that came to the critics groups I'm in, but other than that, they didn't give it a push, and I couldn't get any traction with it in my groups, mainly because Anora was also in the neon pack, and everybody focused on that. I mean, and justifiably so, because Anora is great. But yeah, you know what? I'm pretty stoked, and this is kind of going off topic, and I don't want to do it for too long because we're running long. But what I'm stoked with the awards push that's gotten with critics groups is Hundreds of Beavers.
Yes.
That's another one I couldn't get any traction with people in my group, and I don't know if they took it seriously as a movie. I'm like, oh, dude, seriously, watch it, and you'll love it. But anyway, number 6, Korea. What's your 6?
Number 6, Pick Up Sticks.
There it is.
Hey, take your picks. It's number 6. This was my absolute last second sneak in, the Voldrlock, which is a French Slavic vampire horror fairy tale.
You said Nosferatu wasn't on your list.
Well, the Voldrlock is very different from Nosferatu, in that basically, if you want your Slavic, did you see Nosferatu and you were like, this movie isn't cunty enough for me? The Voldrlock checks that box hard. If you don't know the story of the Voldrlock, it's a Slavic creature tale where it's basically a vampire, but it comes back to haunt and eat and infect its loved ones. So it's very specific. Mario Bava did an adaptation of it in one of the segments for Black Sabbath with Boris Karloff. And it is so beautifully shot. It's slow. So you're really in it. It's beautiful looking. Everyone, again, apologies for the language, but everyone's cunty as fuck in it. The main protagonist.
Are you apologizing for cunty or for fuck?
Fuck. I will never apologize for cunty. The main protagonist is this French aristocrat pansy, and it reminded me a lot of like the Disney adaptation of Sleepy Hollow with Ichabod and Mr. Toad, where he's just like this pansy in tights who's way over his head in a supernatural situation. The Vordelok himself is all puppetry, and it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. Oh, it's also very funny at times. It's very haunting. It just checked so many boxes, and I wasn't expecting it. Oscilloscope released it, and I highly recommend it. It's currently on Canopy, so if you have a library card, which is free to get, you can sign up for Canopy and watch the Vordelok, as well as thousands of other amazing titles.
It depends on if your library has the Vordelok, because the titles are different for which library card you use. But have either of you guys been watching another side quest? Have either of you guys been watching that Dexter prequel series on Showtime?
No.
It just made me think of you, because at one point, because there's a child Deb who every other word out of her mouth is fuck, and at one point another character says, "Pardon my French," and Deb's like, "Your French is fine." All right, Jacob, number 6.
All right, yeah. Jonathan, I was going to keep up the Mighty Boosh references by going 666, pick up sticks. I remember from Nanageddon.
Of course, Nanageddon. I love it.
Yeah, but anyway, so number 6, Fede Alvarez's Alien Romulus.
Oh, nice.
Which, kind of following what Jonathan was saying, just that, a lot of these were based off just my experience seeing them largely at the movies, at the theaters this year, and seeing Alien Romulus in a double feature with the original Alien at the Egyptian Theater with a sold out crowd of Alien fans was incredible. Like, it was the perfect environment for it. And I do really love the movie. I thought it was it definitely was one of the best sequels in years, and it was just so interesting in that it kind of hybridized a lot of elements from every entry in the franchise, because there's a little bit, it's largely based in the original Alien, but there's also a little bit of Aliens in there, Alien Resurrection, even Prometheus. And I thought it's all cast, and I do love Alvarez's directing and sense for production value, just how claustrophobic it was and how genuinely terrifying the aliens were in this movie, complete with largely practical effects alien suits, which just really made it in line with the rest of the franchise. So I really dug that, and a little fan service heavy at certain points, but I felt it was negligible compared to how good the overall project was.
And how can you not be fan service to be with an alien movie?
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of expect it.
Yeah. Unless you're completely rebooting everything, you gotta have to. It's such a rich and complex mythology that's been spread out through all the movies. Like, you gotta put the little bits in, But
even Prometheus and Covenant were kind of fan servicey. So, okay, cool. We're halfway through and not a single duplicate. Am I right? I don't think there have been any.
No movie has been called twice.
Yeah, this is exciting. All right, number 5, To Stay Alive. See, I'm getting into it. My number 5 is Civil War, and I have to say, at the risk of being called a liberal left grifter, this movie is a lot more prescient today than it was when it came out in April. But I just think Civil War is such an even-keeled portrait of what a civil war would actually be like. I mean, it doesn't really take sides. It's just reporting the facts. So it's more a combination of the war itself than either side, although they drop little hints as to what side might be which. But again, Alex Garland is English, so he doesn't really have a dog in the race. He just wanted to make a good movie, and he did. I loved Civil War.
I still love that Florida was rogue and doing its own thing.
I like how they combine Texas and California. That actually made it clear that they weren't picking a side,
Yeah.
because in a real American Civil War, they would be against each other. But
Yeah.
anyhow, Korea, number 5.
Number 5 is Beehive. So for my number 5, I have the first Omen, which again, Omen is one of my absolute favorite franchises. Nothing but bangers with that trilogy. And I say trilogy.
It's a quadrology.
Nothing but bangers with that trilogy. But I absolutely, it was the series I grew up with. I watched constantly, and I was excited for a new Omen film, but I was like, how the hell are you going to do a prequel that works? Well, I mean, Roe v. Wade. That's what caused it. That's why we have First Omen and Immaculate. Let's be honest. And as a body horror, it works tremendously. In not just I was afraid it was just going to basically repeat the original Omen, and it didn't. And the cinematography was gorgeous. It looks like it could transition easily into the First Omen, with its style and with such amazing performances. Yeah, First Omen, I feel like is a little overlooked right now, but I loved it so much.
All right, Jacob, number 5.
All right, coming at number 5 is Destroy All Neighbors.
Ooh.
Did either of you guys see that one?
No, you're beefing up my watch list right now.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, no, you gotta get in on it, because it was definitely one of my favorites this year. Again, great theatrical screening. There was a premiere at my theater, The Arrow, and again, it's a very practical effects heavy movie with a lot of monsters and ghouls. And Alex Winter as some kind of Eastern European goblin man named Vlad. It's a lot of fun. It's basically about Jonah Ray as this wannabe prog rocker who's very neurotic and just kind of up in his head when he gets this new neighbor named Vlad who's very imposing and annoying. And he accidentally kills him, but he comes back as a ghoul, and a series of Coen Brothers-esque accidents happen, and his neighbors start dying one by one while he's trying to get his life on track and finish his prog rock album. It's just such a fun mix of styles, and it's just so fun to see Alex Winter in full body makeup again, like freaked, and it's a good time, and has a surprisingly uplifting message about believing in yourself and pursuing art. So I highly recommend it, and it was definitely one of my favorites this year.
Hell yeah.
All right, number 4, In the Door. I don't know, I'm not as good at this as you guys. My number 4 is Love Lies Bleeding, which questionably horror, but I'm the fringe guy, and I have been waiting with bated breath to see what Rose Glass does after Saint Maud, and I wasn't disappointed. Love Lies Bleeding. I mean, it showed us that Kristen Stewart is still one of the premier actors of her generation. Post Twilight, she can do no wrong, and also Katie O'Brien can do more than just stunts and action, because she can act as well. But yeah, Love Lies Bleeding. Again, questionably horror. It's almost more just like Grindhouse, but I loved it. It's number 4. All right, what's your 4, Korea?
Coming in at number 4, across the floor, is I Saw the TV Glow.
Nice.
Yeah, I absolutely love this movie. This one it's again cinematic experience, just the bodily reaction to that film was really intense. It had I sorry Sydney Sweeney, but I Saw the TV Glow had the best guttural scream of the year. Truly felt that in my chest from Justin Smith. Just all around, absolutely fantastic. It's hard to put into words on how great that film is, but let's put it this way. I went to a signing where Amber Benson was there, and instead of getting anything Buffy signed, I brought my copy of I Saw the TV Glow. I loved it. I love it that much. Yeah. So it's, yeah, I can't wait to see where Jane Schubrun goes from here, because they're an incredible filmmaker and have such a unique and amazing eye. I'm just so excited for them.
And such a unique thumbprint. I mean, you can tell a Jane Schuberman movie when you see it. Yeah, it's and you don't see that often with today's filmmakers. So I mean, I think you see it with Robert Eggers as well, but yeah, but Schuberman's is even more distinct. So yeah, it's and I Saw TV Go has a banger soundtrack too.
Oh, this is
true.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Jacob, number 4.
Well, yeah, and number 4, and mine was also I Saw the TV Glow.
Sweet.
Hey!
Yeah.
First duplicate.
Yeah, we matched. But yeah, no, I Saw the TV Glow just really resonated with me, and was genuinely probably one of the most haunting movies I saw this year, because, largely being a trans allegory, I also kind of saw it as an ode to depressed millennials everywhere.
I missed the trans allegory in it. I saw the depressed millennials, but also I thought it was more an allegory for being stuck in like a little town kind of a thing. I don't know, but I mean,
yeah, there's lots of way to interpret it, but there was definitely a trans allegory in there with, because Justice Smith's character Owen sees themselves as I think it was the character Tara in I Saw the TV Glow, and I think it's like the horror. Somebody even said that it's a horror movie about the horrors of body dysmorphia, but also, yeah, I mean, this is just, that's the thing, just so many different people can get so much out of this movie because there's so many different ways to interpret and analyze it, while also having like John was saying, these incredible scenes like the scream. It just is still stuck with me, and I love the Pink Opaque, the show within the show, which genuinely feels like kind of like it could be a lost 90s teen show that's just out there somewhere, and with all the practical effects, and yeah, no, it's just something about it is just very haunting. It really stuck with me long after I saw it. But yeah, no, it had such great nightmare imagery, like with Mr. Melancholy, the moon guy, and that horrible ice cream man monster. So yeah, no, this is definitely horror. Also has one of the best Fred Durst appearances this year outside of another movie.
Just interesting to say one of the best, as in there's multiple Fred Durst appearances cinematically this year.
Like I said, hey, anything that keeps him from making music, I'll support him. Number 3, my number 3 is ISS.
Ooh,
which I remember I said back in January that is it too early to declare my favorite movie of the year? And yes, it was, because ISS has been bumped down to number 3. But I still love this movie. It's just such a treat. I mean, we haven't had this good of a treatise on paranoia probably since The Thing. Just, to refresh you guys, it's about 3 astronauts and 3 cosmonauts. 3 Americans, 3 Russians on the International Space Station, and World War III breaks out down on Earth. So they are up in the space station. Each of them gets a message from their respective country: take control of the space station by any means necessary. So they're up there and their family up there, but all of a sudden, their country is like, do whatever you need to do. So then they're like, and then there are interpersonal relationships between the people on the space station that are like, okay, I think I can trust this person more than I can trust my country. I don't know. It's just crazy. But it's ISS, my number 3.
And it has the amazing Ariana DeBose, who was just so good in West Side Story. And just what are those performers that I will watch almost anything they're in, which means I have to watch Argyle at some point.
All right, Korea, number 3.
Number 3, number 3 for me. No, that was a rhyme. Fuck off. Number 3 for me was Long Legs.
Oh, nice.
Another
dupe.
Yeah, we're starting to dupe here. Long Legs hit that special note in my heart growing up on 90s thrillers in my parents' VHS collection. Along Came a Spider, Seven, Silence of the Lambs. All those movies were on constant rotation with Independence Day all the time in my household. And it fits so well in that world, and then it just brings in the occult, brings in the satanic panic, which is also near and dear to my heart, and it's just genuinely atmospheric, but not in like a ghosty haunted house like I was talking about with Oddity earlier, but just in like an unsettling, like you feel eyes on you the whole time. But you don't know where they're coming from, and it's so good with such great performances, and surprisingly, like I just love how they handle, like, because you can go so ridiculous with the FBI agent with the psychic powers. It's such a silly thing that's not treated silly at all. It's just like, yeah, this is just a thing, and then you move on and you accept it, and I love that. So yeah, Longlegs was fantastic, and yeah, I hope Nick Cage does get nominated for some awards, because boy, did he go for it. And his makeup and costume department went ham across the board.
Oh, yeah.
He is definitely, like we were saying, taking risks. He's definitely not afraid to take risks either.
No.
And I hope if he gets nominated, he shows up to the Oscars or whatever dressed as Longlegs.
Yeah. And let's not forget, Micah Monroe was also incredible in it, but also Elisa Witt was.
Oh yeah,
Alicia Witt, yeah.
Holy shit, that performance as the mother was just insane. I know everyone's going to be talking about Nick Cage, but Elisa Witt also needs some high praise for that.
And let's not forget Kieran Shipka, who in the one scene she's in,
that was weird.
I think she's kind of Osgood Perkins' muse, because he likes to use her. But yeah, that was right on. There's our repeat. Number 3, Jacob.
Coming at number 3 for me, from the dark recesses of Canada, is Chris Nash's In a Violent Nature.
Oh, nice. Is that Canadian?
Yeah, it was Canadian. Okay. I think it's even set around Ontario.
Oh, it looked to me like it was the Pacific Northwest, but yeah, I guess, hey, any forested area will do.
True. But anyway, yeah, no, it was one I was anticipating this year, because it did incredible at Sundance, and it just sounded so interesting. It was described as Friday the 13th. It was directed by Terrence Malick, and it's basically about like this Jason Voorhees type undead killer who rises from the grave after his grave is disturbed and somebody steals like his prized locket, and the switch on it is that it's a slasher movie from the killer's perspective. And even though he doesn't talk or really have much interaction, it's just the camera's following him the whole time instead of like the teenagers or anybody else around. So you're seeing him set up the kills. You're seeing him just kind of figuring out his surroundings and assembling his costume and weapons, which is the other thing too. The killer Johnny, I love the design for him, because he dons this old school like timber fireman costume with like this asbestos helmet with big glass eyes, and he grabs these timber hooks that he uses to brutally kill people. And what really sold this is that, just like is so brutal in its kills, which again had effects done by friend of the show, Stephen Kostansky. And during one particular kill involving a woman doing yoga, like a guy sitting near me actually screamed, "Oh God, please stop."
It never ends. It was like the bear scene in The Revenant. You're like, oh, okay, she's dead.
Yeah.
No, it just kept going. And, that is that is a particular highlight that really elevated it for me. And yeah, no, I just really dug it. It was such fascinating storytelling, and apparently, like most good slasher franchises, there's a sequel on the way. So I'm very excited for Johnny to come back.
Yeah. I really appreciate what they did with the kills, because usually kills with slashers, it's quick, it's done, and it's a bang flash event where you go, wow, that was awesome. But this made you sit in it for so long. It made you sit there and go, oh, fuck, this is a human this is happening to. And you felt dirty.
Yeah, no, especially like that automatic timber cutter scene. Jesus Christ.
Ugh. Yeah.
All right. My number two, and you know what to do. Nosferatu. Built in. That's not why I did Nosferatu at number two, though. That was just serendipity as well. Um, I love Nosferatu so much. It's just like we were talking about Robert Eggers. Talk about Robert Eggers' auteurness and just his attention to detail. Every frame of this movie is just its own little cinematic masterpiece, just impeccably shot. And like you said, Willem Dafoe just aping it up in a movie that is otherwise serious. It's almost like he is the one who, it's not that he's not taking it serious, but he's the wild card.
Yeah.
He's the guy who cut the brakes on the van. But yeah, I loved Nosferatu. It was classic period piece, but still felt modern to me, which is another thing that I feel like Robert Eggers is one of the few people who can do that. Yeah, Nosferatu, number two.
Nice.
So another repeat. Korea, what's your number two?
Yeah, my number two is The Substance.
Sweet.
Nice.
Another repeat.
Oh fuck, I forgot to do a rhyme. Boo boo. Boo boo, here's number two.
I was gonna say I stopped rhyming like 5 entries ago. I don't know why you guys are still doing it.
Someone's got to pick up the
Yeah,
slack.
someone had to pick up the slack. Hey, boo boo, here's my number two. It's The Substance. No, Substance. I mean, it's duking it out with the Volderlock for Cuntiest Movie of the Year. Just fearless performances across the board. It's insane to me that Dennis Quaid had that and Reagan out the same week. Because he was just, again, in a film that like really divulges into Yuzna produced body horror over the topness. It still the most like visceral bodily reaction I had is Dennis Quaid chewing shrimp. There's few things grosser than that. But yeah, amazing performances across the board. It was giving face, it was giving body, it was giving society, just all around, just an amazing film that felt like it came out of nowhere. It felt like all we were getting were trailers for that one James McAvoy movie that no one talks about now, even though it was advertised for 8-9 months every day. And then all of a sudden this trailer came out for The Substance and it just kind of like took over everything, and it deserves it. It's such a phenomenal film. And yeah, Demi Moore needs to get fucking nominated across the board.
Oh yeah.
All right, number two, Jacob.
All right. Yeah, we're going into more repeats because my number two was Osgood Perkins' Longlegs.
Yes.
Yeah.
The first Ion Horror approved movie of the day.
Yeah, triple agreement top 10. So it gets the Ion Horror seal of approval. But yeah, no, I was at the Beyond Fest premiere where Osgood Perkins and Nicolas Cage both showed up. And yeah, no, it's just the first time I saw it, especially with a crowd in a sold out theater, is just you could feel just the dread wash over the audience as the movie unfolded, because like nobody really knew what to expect. Because speaking on advertising, like Longlegs had some of the best marketing of any movie this year, like the cryptic teasers, and like you never really saw Nicolas Cage in the trailers or anything, and the weird like little symbol writings, like nobody knew what was going on or what the deal with this was. So that's the thing, it hooks you in, and as the story unfolds and you see what's going on, it's a real nightmare logic type of movie, which is so creepy. And like Nicolas Cage was very unsettling as Longlegs, and just like he's goofy and camp, and he has the whole like glam metal thing about him, but it's like the whole thing where he's driving the car and saying "Mommy, Daddy," like
Mommy.
Yeah, you just yeah, exactly. It's funny, but it's also really freaky.
Yeah.
And like I'm still and like some parts of it I still kind of scratch my head over, because again, the nightmare logic with the dolls and what exactly it was. And also like the fact that there's like several, or I think 13 different hidden devils in the movie, like in the background, like in certain scenes you can see the devil like haunting people. But yeah, no, it's and also what John was saying, it just perfectly recaptures that energy of 90s thrillers, especially the supernatural satanic tinge ones.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, on to our number ones. Let's do our honorable mentions before we hit number one.
I was just about to ask.
Let's do a few honorable mentions. Mine that just missed, Oddity, just missed for me. Not really horror, but Hundreds of Beavers. I Saw the TV Glow, just missed. In a Violent Nature, which Jacob already talked about, that just missed for me. And also, literally 2 days ago, almost made me bump Heretic off. Humane, Caitlin Cronenberg's movie. That was another one. But those were the just mists. Let's go to the number one for me. My number one, no surprise to anyone who listens to the podcast, is Strange Darling. I absolutely loved Strange Darling. It almost feels like it could take place in the same universe as In a Violent Nature. Maybe that's why I thought In a Violent Nature was Pacific Northwest, because Strange Darling is. But Strange Darling is just one of those movies. Just don't research anything. If you haven't seen it, go in completely cold, because things change at the drop of a dime in it. It's beautifully shot by Giovanni Ribisi. Yes, that Giovanni Ribisi. He's a producer on it, but he's also the cinematographer. And also the music. The score is just completely chaotic. But then there's this, it's juxtaposed with the soundtrack songs that are just like beautifully folk kind of songs. So anyway, Strange Darling is the whole package for me, and it is my number one. Korea, what's yours? Well, let's get some honorable mentions first.
Yeah. So for honorable mentions, I gotta mention Rebel Ridge is just like an amazing, tense action thriller. Cuckoo was also phenomenal. Hunter Stevenson was just fantastic.
Hunter Schafer.
Sorry, Hunter Schafer was just incredible in it, and my boy Dan Stevens gave his least sexiest role in this year. Also, actually, yeah, let's list off the Dan Stevens movies. Abigail and Godzilla X-Con, New Empire, both absolutely fun to see in the cinemas. A Quiet Place Day One was just great. I think it was probably the most fun I had with a Quiet Place movie. Furiosa, it was an incredible prequel. My favorite movie of the year technically doesn't come out till next month, and that's Companion. So that's why it's not on my list this year, but it will be next year. Front Room, again, I know I keep talking, but Catherine Hunter is just absolutely incredible in that. It's on Max later this week if you haven't seen it. And Street Trash, also shout out to Ryan Kruger and co. Was just an amazing legacy sequel that was just absolutely fun. This was a year of goopiness and horniness coming back to the cinema, and I couldn't be happier, which I think leads directly into my number one film of the year, beating Jay out as the Fringe guy, Love Lies Bleeding. I just love that movie so much. It was such a great, it was grindhousey. It was a thriller. I highly debated with myself whether to include it or not on the list. And then when I saw it was on Jay's, I was like, well, it's got to be on my list because there's only one spot for it, and it's number one. It was sweaty. It was horny. It was sexy. It was thrilling, and it just had everything for me. Again,
including the batshit ending.
Yeah, I loved it.
Oh yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
It's becoming one of Rose Glass's trademarks, I think, the batshit endings. Can't wait to see what she'll do next.
I stand Rose Glass till the day I die. Between Saint Maud and Love Lies Bleeding, she has a fan for life in me. And yeah, it almost felt like it was a 4DX movie because you could feel the sweat coming off the screen. At least we were in the front row. So it was like Katie O'Brien and co were sweating on us. But yeah, Love Lies Bleeding, best movie of the year for me.
Nice.
Cool. All right, Jacob, honorable mentions and then number one.
All right. There's still plenty of great movies didn't quite make the cut. I just saw this one a few days ago, Bloody Axe Wound with Billy Burke. Great meta slasher. Would highly recommend it. Comes to Shudder soon. Watch Them Come Blood. Great Grindhouse throwback. That's going to be coming out soon. Street Trash. What John was saying, had a lot of fun with that. And just so much good stuff. Mr. Crockett, dug that one. Scared shitless. Great time. Also really liked Rumors and my other favorite Fred Durst appearance in horror, Y2K. But, there could only be one number one, and I had to hand it to Tillman Singer's Cuckoo. starring Hunter Schafer and Dan Stevens. Yeah, no, just this one just really appealed to me. It was such a great horror movie with, again, kind of the nightmare logic, and Hunter Schafer. It was one of the best horror leads of this year, and it just had such a great emotional core to it, dealing with grief, but also this weird, cuckoo, and like the weird lady in the woods. And I have to say, John, I feel like this was one of Dan Stevens' best this year, and his most ridiculous accent, which I think one ties to the other. But just him playing a mad scientist is just like he was meant to do that. And which is the thing, like he kind of goes the guest at the end, like he takes a military rifle and starts cleaning house. Yeah. But yeah, no, just I really loved Hunter Schafer's performance, and the monster in this one was just so weird. But I also love that there was very little exposition on what exactly was going on. And I think it definitely, my opinion, was routed on, like, I saw it at the Beyond Fest premiere, or no, I saw this at the Vista premiere on film, and I saw it as a double feature with one of my other favorite movies of all time, Dario Argento's Phenomena, both set in the Swiss Alps. Like, there's like this, so just crazy shit happens in the Alps, I guess. Also has a phenomenal soundtrack that I've been listening to a lot. But yeah, no, Cuckoo just really did for me, because it's the kind of horror movie I love, where it's weird, it's bloody, it's out there, it thrives on its own logic. Like, it is just such a great film, and I cannot recommend it enough.
Absolutely. And I need to clarify something. It is not Dan Stevens' least sexiest role. That goes to Abigail, because he plays a cop.
True.
And just because he's not as sexy as he is in Godzilla X Con, I mean, you can't beat Kaiju Veterinarian. Come on, that's just hot.
With the Ace Ventura fit.
Yeah.
Yep. Who listens to Loverboy while he
exactly. Come on, don't get me riled up, boys. No, but like, it's an amazing performance, and all around Cuckoo was so much fun.
Yep, Cuckoo. And again, you can't say it enough. Hunter Schafer's performance is amazing in Cuckoo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, just I love when the monster's approaching her, and the first thing she does is like just rip a plank out and ready to fight it. And like they actually show the damage to her throughout the movie. Like, she's got wounds, she's got casts, like she's going through the ringer in this, but she is not going down.
Nope.
Yep. All right, there you go. Top 10s. Surprisingly, there are only a couple of dupes and only one triple threat.
Yeah.
On all of our lists, which again, that tells you what kind of year it's been. There, and especially the fact that that we all had so many that almost made the cut. I mean, it's horror's alive. I mean, it was, and there are probably others that I forgot came out this year that I'm not thinking of, what I mean? Because there are ones that I was reminded of.
Yeah, I could have sworn one of you was going to include Late Night with the Devil. I was very surprised.
It is so hard to prune it down.
It really was a tough year to prune it down.
Yeah,
it really was. But I love it when we don't have matching lists.
Yep, it just speaks to our own tastes and just how many great releases there were this year.
Yeah.
Yep. So hit us up and let us know what your top 10 is, and what did we get wrong? Although, can you really say that any of us are wrong? But hey, that's the beauty of movies in general. Everybody's got an opinion, and none of them are wrong. So let's get out of here. We will see you next season, which is actually going to be sooner than later. And let's call this one an episode. Our theme song is by Restless Spirit, so go check them out. And our artwork is by Chris Fisher, so go check him out. You can find us on most of the socials as Eye on Horror. I think we dropped one. But check us out, or go to iHorror.com, which is the site we all call home. And we will see you in a couple of weeks with the season 8 premiere. So for me, James J. Edwards.
I'm Jacob Davison.
And I'm Jonathan Correa.
Keep your eye on horror.